Good morning, students. Today we are going to learn king, farmers, and early states and economics 600 BC to 600 CE. Basically, in this chapter, we are going to learn about the 16 Mahajanpadas, their features, and about the modern administration. Here we have to learn about the which Mahajanpad is more powerful and how. So let us start this chapter. This is one of the very easiest chapter, and it is the second lesson of the first part of the history, in which we are going to learn about the king, farmers, and township, covering the period 600 BC to 600 CE. Princip and Piyadasi. Here, Princip is Piyadasi word is used for King Ashok. Some of the most mountainous development in Indian epigraphy took place in 1830s, and in the inscriptions mentioned in the rock edicts of Asoka, his name is not mentioned as Ashok but Piyadasi. Piyadasi means one favorite to all. So this Piyadasi word is used for the great emperor Ashoka. So if we talk about the early states, so there were 16 Mahajanpadas. These 16 Mahajanpadas were known for its prosperity, and this 6th century BCE is regarded as a major turning point in early history, an early Indian history, and it is an era associated with early states, cities, the growing use of irons, the development of coinage, and also witnessed the growth of diverse system of thought. That is why 6th century BC is often regarded as the major turning point. So sometimes it is asked why 6th century BC is regarded as major turning point. So you can write down or you can make it note that it is an era associated with early states, cities growing, and use of iron. Use of iron was the major aspect of the development during the 600 BC to 600 CE, and the development of coinage. You see, in this period, different types of coinage were developed. That is why 6th century BC is regarded as the major turning point in early Indian history. And this is the time when the major Buddhist thought, Jainism, were also in practice. So various thoughts prevailed during this time, and this was one reason why 6th century BC is often regarded as a turning point. If we talk about the early Mahajanpadas, so there were 16 states known as Mahajanpadas. Although the list vary, there are big list of such, but some important list can be read out as Bajji, Magad, Koshal, Kuru, Panchal, Gandhar, and Avanti. So these are some names of the 16 Mahajanpadas, and these were most important, which I have mentioned the name. These Mahajanpadas are the most important. If we talk about the characteristics and features of the Mahajanpadas, the most Mahajanpadas were ruled by kings, some known as Ganas or some Sanghas. Ganas or Sanghas, and were oligarchies where power was shared by number of men. In oligarchies, power was shared by number of men and often colloquially called Rajas. So, what we know about the term Raja, it is not a single person but a group of the person who used to control the empire. So during the Mahajanpad periods, Rajas were known for a group of persons. Each Mahajanpadas has capital city. Some capitals were there, and which was often fortified. So each every Mahajanpad has a capital and which was fortified. Fortified means there was a boundary with the forts for the security and safety of the Mahajanpads. Now this first among 16th Magad. If we talk about all these 16 Mahajanpadas, then Magad was the first among these 16 Mahajanpadas. Sometimes a question is asked why Magad is more important than other Mahajanpadas. The answer is very simple and you can write down in point wise. This Magad was more powerful because this Magad was a region where agriculture was especially productive. You can say the fertile land. Magad's geographical situation was on the bank of river Ganga, and due to this area was more fertile and agriculturally more productive. So once the area is more productive, so it was become prosperous and rich. And beside this, second point you can write down the iron ore mines. So there were iron mines in present day Jharkhand. At that time, it was also a part of Magadh, and were accessible and provided resources for tools and weapons. So there was presence of iron, due to which Magadh was more important, and other states, other Mahajanpadas used to import this iron from Magadh. So this was the another reason, availability of iron mines. And next one important reason why Magadh was more important, because of elephant. The elephants were found in the forest of Magadh, and at that time these elephants were the major ingredient, major part of war, and the army which is having the more elephant are known for its strength. So other states, different states used to import elephant, used to purchase elephant from Magadh. So in that way, it also make a prosperous Magadh. The economy of Magadh become strong due to this elephant. So these were some reasons, and you can write down the another point. The able leaders, the kings of Magad were very able leaders like Bimbisar, Ajat Mahapadmanand. These are the best known rulers of the Magad, who were known for their ability, and that is why this Mahajanpad Magad was more extended. The boundary of Mahajanpad Magad was more extended. It was economically prosperous. It was militarily prosperous. It was prosperous in the iron ore mines, and these are the reasons why Magad is known for its prosperity, and it comes first among 16 Mahajanpadas. If we talk about this early empire, which we are in this text, we are going to learn about the Mauryan Empire. So here my next topic is administering the empire. So there were five major. If we talk about the empire of Mauryan Empire, so there were five major political centers in the empire. The capital Patliputra and provincial centers of Taxila, Ujjaini, Tosal, and Suvarnagiri, all mentioned in Ashokan inscriptions. If we go through the Ashokan inscriptions, we find that besides the major capitals, there were five centers of administrations, and these centers were Patliputra, yes, and Taxila, Ujjaini, Tosali, and Suvarnagiri. These are the centers from where this administration of the Mauryan Empire were conducted. So now the questions comes: could this vast empire have had uniform administrative system? So the answer is historians have increasingly comes to realize that this is unlikely, means the administration was not unique, not a similar patterns, so it differs from province to province. The regions included within the empire were just too diverse, so the administration system was little bit diverse. It was different from one province to another province. It is likely that administrative control was strongest in the area around the capital and the provincial centers. So, if we talk about the capital of the province and provincial centers, the administration was too strong in that areas. These centers were carefully chosen, both Taxila and Ujjaini being situated on important long distance trade routes, and that is why this was the one of the reason why these areas were having strong administration. While Suvarnagiri is the name for a golden mountain, was possibly important for tapping gold mines of Karnataka. So at that time, Karnataka was the part of Mauryan Empire, and this Karnataka was known for gold mines, and that was the one reason why Suvarnagiri is written here. This communication of both along both road and rivers routes was vital at that time. Both roads and river land routes were used for the existence of the empire's journey from center to the provinces. So there were good transportation system, or you can say the communication system prevailed in the Mauryan Empire. Asoka also tried to hold his empire together by propagating Dhamma. And you see, Asok, the great Asok, later whom became the Buddhist, and he left the battles. He followed the path of peace, calm. So he led the empire together, tried to hold his empire together by Dhamma. Dhamma is a word which means dharma. The principles in which we have seen were simple and virtually universally applicable. This, according to him, could ensure the well being of people in this world and the next. According to Asoka, if somebody is religious or having the good dharmas, then his another world will also be helpful to them. So this is all about the explanation about the administering the empire. Generally explain the Mauryan Empire comes under 8 mark questions. So you have to write down the why this explaining the administration of Mauryan Empire. You may write down the points which I have explained, that there are 4 administrative centers. Asoka made the Dhammas for unite and unification of the big empire, and the centers of provinces and the capital centers were having a rigid administrative control, and historians found that all these administrative systems throughout the empire were not similar. It was diverse, it was varied from one provinces to another provinces. So this was how the administration of empire took. um, Now, Prinsip and Pridesi, we have covered. Back to basic, how are inscriptions deciphered? You see, it is a very big topic. The questions comes how the inscriptions deciphered. Uh, this is one of the important work of historians, archaeologists, to decipher the inscriptions. This is not easy one. It is a very difficult aspect of this. And in 1830s, we were able to decipher the this Brahmi script, Asokan scripts. Deciphering Brahmi, if we could talk about the deciphering Brahmi, most script used to write modern Indian languages are derived from Brahmi. So this Brahmi script was one of the important script from which more Indian languages are derived. The script used in most inscriptions was Brahmi. And from the late 18th century, emperors, scholars added by Indian Pandits works backward from contemporary Bengali and Devanagari script used to write Hindi manuscripts. Comparing their later with the older specimen. Now the questions comes how Brahmi was deciphered. So they have got the comparison between the Hindi, Sanskrit, Bengali, and in this way they were able to get the conclusion to decipher the Brahmi script. Scholars who studied early inscriptions sometimes assumed these were in Sanskrit. ये मान लेते थे कि संस्कृत में चीज़ें हैं और उस वर्ड के सिमिलरिटी के like similarity they have made the similar words, similar letters, and they started deciphering Brahmi script. Although the earliest inscriptions were in fact in Prakrit, and it was only after decades of painstaking investigation by several epigraphist and James Prinsep, and finally James Prinsep was able to decipher Asokam Brahmi in 1838. Somewhere it is written as 1830. 1830s means in 1838. 1838 में जो जेम्स प्रिंसेप थे वो एबल हुए, वो इस चीज़ को डिसाइफर करने में सफल हुए. Then the story of decipherment of Kharoshti, how Kharoshti was read and deciphered. So the story of decipherment of Kharoshti, the script used in inscriptions in the northwest, is different. Now, in order to decipher the Kharoshti, the historians find out the coins of Indo-Greek kings, and they make the similarity between the coins and the letters inscripted on the pillar and rocks, and about the first centuries BCE. And in this way they have made comparison these coins containing the name of kings in Greek and Kharoshti scripts. And this way you can say in the reading of Kharoshti, the coins, the usage of coins have played very important role, and in this way the script of Kharoshti could be deciphered by the historians. One important aspect that is how to this limitations of inscriptional evidence. Limitations of inscriptional evidence. You see, inscription is the one of the good evidence on which history is written. And under 8 mark questions, sometimes this question is asked, write down the limitations of inscriptional evidence, which is very important aspect of this chapter. So there are various limitations you can write down in your own language, in your own ways, that there are some technical limitations. In under technical limitations we can say letters are very faintly engraved. Faintly engraved means difficult to read, difficult to study, and thus reconstructions are uncertain. So this is the technical limitations. When the letters were faintly engraved and reconstructions are uncertain. Likewise, the inscriptions may be damaged or letters missing. In course of time, what happens? Some letters get missed, so it becomes very difficult for the historians to make the conclusion. And this is the another limitations of the inscriptional evidences. It is not always easy to use to be sure about the exact meaning of the words used in inscriptions. What happened? You see, the meaning of the word changes according to time. During the Rigvedic period, some words were having the meaning of in different sense. Nowadays, we have got the meaning in different sense. You can take the word of some, you see, today's English word also, which is having the different meaning with the course of time. If we talk about the word hero, which is used in 1857's revolutions, like brave heroine Rani Jhansi, the Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi. So here nowadays we take the word heroine for a one who used to dance and sing in film industry. So the meaning of the word changes with the time. So that is why it is written that it is said that the meaning of the engraved letters changes with course of time. So it becomes very much difficult to get the conclusion of these words. Yeah. So I have told you the letters were very faintly engraved. That was the one technical reason. Reconstructions and uncertain. These inscriptions may be damaged, a letter missing. Okay. Next one, the words used in inscriptions, which was specific particular place of the time, have changes its meaning due to course of time and in the other place. If we go through the epigraphical journey, we will able to see that some scholars are constantly debating and discussing alternative ways of reading inscriptions. So it is difficult to form a single view after practicing this, after going through the inscriptions of inscriptional evidences. Politically or economically significant was necessarily recorded in inscriptions. Sometimes a king used to mention those records which is very praiseworthy for that king, and others important records were not written in inscriptional evidence. So it becomes very much difficult for historians to make conclusion. That is why here I have mentioned there is another perhaps more fundamental problems. Not everything that we consider politically or economically significant was necessarily recorded in inscriptions. जिसको हम अच्छा समझते हैं वो जरूरी नहीं था कि वो इंस्क्रिप्शन में इंक्लूड कराया गया हो उस राजा के द्वारा. For instance, routine agriculture practices and the joys and the sorrows, okay, they have not mentioned in inscriptions, which focus more often than not on grand unique events. And besides this, many reasons where there are many limitations are there about the inscriptional evidences. Thanks. Thanks for watching my video, and remaining topic I would like to cover up in next video. Here we have learned, if we try to summarize my talk in nutshell. So we have learned about there was 16 Mahajanpadas. Out of 16 Mahajanpadas, Magad was first. Why Magad was first? Because ability of elephant, ability of iron ore mines, ability of fertile lands, and able leaders. So these are some points due to which Magad was the first among 16 Mahajanpadas. We have also learnt about the features of Mahajanpadas. So every Mahajanpad was having its own capital, and every Mahajanpadas has its own king. Here the meaning of king is not a single person, which we generally understand. It is the meaning of group of people, group of person who used to rule the Mahajanpadas. So another features of the Mahajanpadas that these capitals were fortified. In order to have the safety and security of the Mahajanpadas, these capitals were fortified. So these are some features of Mahajanpadas. Then we have learned why this 6th century BC is called the turning point of Indian history. So let me conclude that due to the this was the time when the coinage system introduced. This was the 6th century BC when the iron came into use. You see the use of the iron also opened various ways in agricultural field, in the development of agricultural field, and in this way the production of with the use of iron, production of agriculture introduced. And this was a time when various philosophers like Buddhist, Lord Buddha, Lord Mahavira came into being, and 6th century was known for its thinkers and beliefs. So that is why this is considered as a turning point in the Indian history. Also learned the name of Piyadasi used for Asoka in the inscriptions of Asoka, in the rock edicts of Asoka. We didn't it is not mentioned name Asoka but Piyadasi. So here the Piyadasi word is used. And the topic we have learned regarding this how the Kharoshti were deciphered. So if we talk about why I have told you the Brahmi script was deciphered with the help of various script used in Sanskrit, Bengali, and we make the similar words used there in the Bengali script, Sanskrit script, Brahmi scripts, and make a comparison. And but the story of deciphering Kharoshti is different here. In order to decipher the Kharoshti script, which is also used in the inscriptions of Ashoka, here the historians used to take the help of coins, Indo-Greek coins. The picture mentioned on Indo-Greek coins, they make the similar aspect and concluded. And in this way, in 1830, James Princip were able to decipher the script of Ashokan pillars, and which was the major turning point in the Indian history, that we are able to see the content mentioned in the Ashokan rock edicts. Another aspect we have learned the limitations of the inscriptions. You see, inscriptions is the very good rich source, or you can say the true source for writing the Indian history. And historians use inscriptions as a source, as a evidence for constructing the history of the past, particularly ancient Indian history. Here we have learned there are though this evidence through inscriptions are very much reliable, but there are certain problems, some certain limitations. One limitations we have learned regarding this technical limitations on which the letters were often faintly written, which is difficult to understand, difficult to read. Second one is sometimes the meaning of the word changes with the time. Whatever you see, every word has got different meaning with course of time. So it becomes very much difficult the exact meaning, exact sense of those times. Next limitations we have learned that the king doesn't mention the general habit and talk behavior of the local people, of the general people, of the common people of their empire. So we are unable to find the information about the common people of the empire, which is one again setback of the limitations of inscriptions evidences. So these are the topics we have learned in this video. I hope you have enjoyed my video, and you will certainly score good marks in board examination. In my coming video, I would like to solve or like to cover up those points which you raise after seeing this video. I feel happy if you comment on my video, or if you want to some improvement. Here I made this video for the mediocre student also, so as the a weak student can score, how to score good marks. You see, a weak student can also score good mark if he generalize the questions, if he generalize the answers. Certain answers could be written. Why Bhagat was more powerful? Some states, some country will become more powerful if it is economically prosperous, if it is economically politically sound, and that was the condition applicable to Magad. Magad was militarily having good leaders, good kings, good economic resources. That is why it was strong. Nothing else. How the Brahmi script was read, I have told they have got the similarity between the letters of the Sanskrit, Bengali, etc. So let me finish my talk. Thank you all of one present here.